Oh my god, I was so mad.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/The Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Welcome to episode 104 of the Horror of Babylon, where we discuss 2 of the 4 manga adaptations of Battle Royale. I am Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
And Hef is here too.
How y'all doing? Good to be here.
And speaking of things that are good and here in our hearts, thank you to our patrons, Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben the Fourth, Patron of Hope.
I forgot the bit for Ben.
That's okay. And thank you to Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, or the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And if you you can shop online at shop.forhorsemencomics. Jesus Christ. You can shop online at shop.forhorsemencomics.com. And if you make it into the store, say hello to the proprietor, Ronald the Flag. Fuck. Ronald the Third, Grampus of Christmas. It's going to be a long night.
We should just put all of our patrons in a battle royale.
Ron will not win.
I honestly, I think my money's on Abby.
Yeah, my money is definitely on Abby.
Ben's like 6'4", so that's what he's got going for him.
Yeah, but you can take down all men the same way.
Yeah, so.
Bam! Right in the nads. All right, before we get started on our episode, Daniel has started up a new side project, and I just wanted to give him a minute to pitch that.
I am doing mostly it's a Superman-based channel, but I started it because Death Battle's doing Goku vs. Superman 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I'm currently this weekend I'm recording alternative. I just did alternative opponents for Goku because a lot of people are sick of seeing these two fight each other. So I'm doing alternative opponents for Superman.
You know what else you could do to stay on that content train but vary it is this is Goku from the Red Ribbon Army portion of Dragon Ball versus Clark Kent in his middle school years from this particular author.
One of my favorite YouTubers did that video. Right. But I'm also working on my favorite Superman feats, not necessarily his best ones, just ones
his left or his right?
Of strength.
Oh. You gotta be more specific.
And I'm doing a bunch of comic book reviews on it.
Cool.
And that's under Starfish Sicko.
On YouTube?
Yeah.
Is that also on TikTok or just YouTube?
All my TikToks are just on my TikTok.
Okay.
All
your TikToks are on your TikTok.
Yeah, I don't remember what my TikTok's called.
Postmodern D.
Oh, okay, so it's the same as my gamer tag.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is the postmodern dick.
Okay.
It's all theoretical.
Trigger warning. Death of children, rape, gun violence, suicide, children in sexual situations, sexual abuse on children. I mean,
basically anything.
Yeah, almost. Animals being killed. Almost anything you can think of.
The villain's face triggers me every time I see it.
What's wrong with Kazuo Kiriyama's face?
The other one, the
Mitsuko Soma?
I mean, yeah. Also, yes.
Oh, you're talking about the
program.
Komei or
Yeah.
Kompei or whatever his name is. Yeah,
Yeah, it's strange.
It triggers me.
Actually, that was something I was going to bring up, but that's okay, because we'll defer that for later.
Yeah.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Background. Okay, so actually, just that we are actually reviewing 2 of the 4 mangas. The original one, Battle Royale, by Masayuki Taguchi, and also Battle Royale, Angel's Border. What we're going to do is the bulk of the discussion is going to be on the original manga. We're going to do like our background and our structure and themes and our characters, all talking about the original manga. Then we're going to do a short general discussion on Angel's Border because it's very short. And then we will do scary shit and Kiss Me Fat Boy and all that with both of them.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So background, this is a 15-volume manga that directly adapts the novel. It was first published in 2000 in the seinen magazine Young Champion. This is the same magazine that published Tsundome. If you've read that manga, that explains everything.
Is it good? I mean,
Oh, you haven't read it?
no, I want to now.
Oh my god, that's like
Is
your
that another
manga.
Daniel
It's-
manga?
Oh, it's so bad. I stopped reading it, but
But I would like it.
let me show you the cover.
I want to, because I love this. So. Oh wait, no, yeah, I've read the first volume of this.
Yeah. This was published in the same magazine as Battle Royale.
Yeah, you told me to buy the first volume of this.
Yeah, because... yeah, no.
That's like my last 3 relationships.
Yeah.
Except not in high school. They're all in their mid-20s.
Great.
it's good that that's
I
established.
mean, that is important. So I put in that clip of Jim telling Andy that's not going to hold him in court. We didn't do anything, Tuna. Okay.
Oh, gross.
So this was written by Masayuki Taguchi. He also did 2 revivals of Osamu Tezuka's manga Blackjack.
Blackjack's pretty good.
Yeah, he did Blackjack Alive and Blackjack Neo. And I read some interviews with this guy, and he actually prefers to adapt other people's work rather than to do original work because he likes to have a story already established so that he can focus on the characters.
Okay.
Which actually makes sense a lot to me because I feel like characters is one thing where this manga has up on the novel.
Yeah.
Okay, the manga was published in English by Tokyo Pop from 2003 to 2006. The Tokyo Pop version was extensively rewritten by Keith Giffen. If you're not familiar with Keith Giffen, he's a very big comic writer in both DC and Marvel. He's the co-creator of Lobo, Blue Beetle, and Rocket Raccoon. Now, typically with manga, we talked about this recently with anime. There's a lot of rewriting with anime because you have to match what the characters say to their lip movements, and English and Japanese don't have the same syllables, so there's a lot of rewriting. With manga, however, typically it's a more direct translation. For whatever reason, Tokyo Pop, instead of just getting someone to translate the Battle Royale manga, hired a established Marvel DC comic book guy to not translate but rewrite, and
That explains some references.
it led to contradictions and plot holes and things that just basically don't make sense. A lot of the dates are messed up. Like, there are several references to past programs.
Make sure we kill his uncle.
Yeah, that, and then they have to correct it later.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of American references. Granted, there are also a lot of American reference in the novel.
Okay, so this means I don't have to bring up all these screenshots I've been taking, at least.
But I'm sure some of those were in the original.
Yeah.
But I don't imagine that references to Donald Trump or Ted Bundy were in the original Japanese. Also, he rewrote the whole thing to make it a reality TV show. In the original manga, it was not broadcast on TV.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention to it, you never see a camera or anything. It's only ever in dialogue. So it's something that he completely came up with.
He said they filmed it in Hunger Games. It needs to be filmed here.
It's all pre-Hunger Games. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't remember when they came out.
2000. Oh, I don't know when Hunger Games came out. I was student teaching, so that was like 2010,
And
2011.
These existed like before we graduated high school, so
cool.
the timeline, like these were out, I'm pretty sure, before Hunger Games.
Okay, so the Hunger Games author read this and went, okay.
Okay, Hunger
2008,
Games was published in 2008. This manga was published in 2000, and the English version
was 2003.
2003.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at first, Takaguchi decided to be very true to the original Japanese novel, but as publication went on and it got a following and became very popular, he took more liberties with the story, which I'm sure we will come up to. There is an interview that you can read with Takaguchi and Koshun Takami in the English versions of the manga where they're interviewed together, and Takami has a lot of praise for the manga and said that he looked forward to reading new installments, and he really liked that Taguchi really made people care about the characters, and he also made them grow as the story went on, which Takami, we talked about in our episode on the novel, he called his own characters static, meaning they're the same people at the end of the book that they are at the beginning of the book, but that's not a lot of his characters, not all of them in the manga do actually evolve somewhat. Also, the manga is significant for kind of continuing the Gekiga art style. This was something that Daniel and I discussed in our episode on Osamu Tezuka's Moi. So if you want more detail, check that out. But more or less what Gekiga is, it's a more realistic style of drawing manga. Prior to the 60s and 70s in Japan, manga was very Disney influenced and the characters looked very cartoony. In the later 60s and the 70s, a lot of manga artists decided to do something that's a little more realistic and mature. And actually, Tezuka got on that bandwagon as well, and that's where we end up getting a lot of his books like Apollo Song and Swallowing the Earth and Ode to Kirihito and such. And this Battle Royale is also known as a Gekiga manga, kind of following in the footsteps of those artists. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that Hwang Dong-hyuk, creator of Squid Games, cites the Battle Royale manga as the inspiration for Squid Games.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Well, I haven't seen it.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for The Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
Structure and themes. Let's start with Hef. Is this manga a good adaptation of the novel?
It is until it isn't. Like the storyline and the various character fates, it gets right most of the time, but I think
Until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. Well, you said earlier, where as the story kind of progressed, like you can notice significant changes between how the book went versus where the manga went. The biggest differences that you'll see as far as the manga is absolutely Mitsuko. Like, that's the definitive character trait. That's because basically her stuff's way more explored graphically.
I feel like in terms of like page count, it's about the same, but it's just that it's visual.
It's very visually over the top.
That makes it like, in terms of her backstory, I actually remember things in the book that are not in the manga. So I actually, maybe the book spends a little bit more time on her, because there was the whole thing with her teacher. That's not in the manga. There was her mom selling her as a prostitute. That's not in the manga. But I think it feels like there's more, just because how visually shocking all of her stuff is.
Her stuff is, it's the content value. Like, you get a whole lot more of Mitsuko visually in the manga than what you're exposed to in the book, which I'm
Or want.
or
I mean, hopefully you don't
that's
want
the biggest
that.
thing. And then the other big deviations are like as the later the book goes, like you get a lot more of that like manga style, like action driven stuff. Like that's what like was it the fight between
Yeah.
Sugimura
which
and Kazuo.
which does not happen in the book.
They have a fight in the lighthouse.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like not near as over the top.
No.
Yeah, it's like I thought. Did he like any Kamehamehas him? I promise you.
Yeah, after Flower Girl shows
After
him
Flower
chi,
Girl shows him chi,
it's just
yeah.
like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Basically, the entire Sugimura, Kotohiki, Kazuo, all of it's different.
Yeah.
It has the same end result with them dead and Kazuo walking away.
Right.
Yeah, but he didn't kill them in the book.
No, Mitsuko did.
Flower Girl kills.
Sugimura, Mitsuko
And
kills
kills-
Kotohiki, and then Kazuo Kiriyama kills Mitsuko.
Which is way more, I want to call it realistic in terms of like random chaos of a death game.
I prefer the novel version of that.
And this is more anime where it's like a big confrontation, last stand
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which
I felt like I was reading Naruto during that part.
The manga very.
I love that part.
Well, the manga gets very manga-y. Like it really does. It fit a lot of it. It overexposes a lot of stuff. But
I
mean,
can't
it's
have a fight scene without having a dramatic flashback about my sad past.
it's a. I guess it's a visual medium. So like they took, like he said. I mean, he took liberties near the end of it that very much are different than what the book had. So I enjoyed that though. Like I enjoyed the extra little bit we got because I feel like it gave me more depth of characters. I'm always going to be give me more character depth kind of guy.
I am when I care about the characters. And I think I would have liked all that stuff in high school, but these days I'm just like, just get to it. But it's not just this. It's
Right.
like I am really burned out on shonen manga.
Yeah.
I can't like. I watch some things like I keep up with Fire Force because my daughter likes it a lot, but I can't stand we're going to a fight. The fight takes 5 episodes, and really only like 2 actions happen, but it's because we're having all these sad flashbacks, and it's cool that obviously a lot of people like that, and there was a point in my life when I did, but I'm just really burned out on it.
That's to say, like we've been. When did we even start? I mean, probably middle school. And I mean, we're in our 30s now, so I mean, at this point in our lives, I think this kind of is. I can attribute something like this to if you're reading it now, aside from the shock value, you just feel like you've read it before. You feel like you've seen it before, and it's not that it's anything specifically as far as like a fault on any one piece of fiction. It's just that we've probably seen something like it or something that's almost exactly like it.
Yeah, and that's I don't think that, you know, well, I do think that Yu Yu Hakusho and Rurouni Kenshin are better than My Hero Academia and Fire Force, but it to me it's like music. Like those were my generation's shonen anime. So
Nostalgia affects you as you get older.
like kids in their shonen.
I mean, it's
These kids in their hold on, what's popular? The My Hero Academias and
The Demon Slayers and
I legitimately think Demon Slayer is better than most of the shit we watched. So
well, most of the shit we watched was real bad. So.
yeah. If you go back and I'm skeptical to
except
go back.
Yu
on
Yu
a lot of-
Hakusho, that one holds up.
Yu Yu Hakusho cheats because of that dub.
I don't know. I like the manga just as well, and it doesn't have the dub, obviously.
I've convinced at least 3 coworkers to read the manga of Yu Yu Hakusho after I convinced them to watch the anime, and now I have like a bunch of Yu Yu Hakusho fans at work.
See, I always have to engage like Yu Yu Hakusho. I always have to tell them just get through the first 4 episodes because
That's usually I'm like
I love the first 4.
but it's such a descent. Like it's so different. I think because you don't really unless you know you're going into a fighting anime. It's so weird to watch.
I think the first 4 are my favorite,
No shit.
except for maybe like a handful of episodes in the Dark Tournament.
I just tell them to get to the Dark Tournament. I'm like, it's the best tournament in anime.
So I just tell him I was like, get to where he's a spirit detective and you'll be fine.
But again, like Emma and I watched Yu Yu Hakusho a few years ago, and it was in 2020. We watched it in 2020, And I got really, really impatient with the Yusuke Toguro fight. I got really impatient with the Yusuke Sensui fight. The worst one was the Yusuke Suzaku, the leader of the Saint Beasts.
Yeah.
Like, that fight goes over, like, 5 episodes, and it's just stupid. So it's just, like, it's just something I've developed. I
don't have this issue.
I don't have the patience for this stuff anymore. And that's when I do shonen stuff. It's usually manga because I can go at a faster pace. But
Segue.
Daniel, is it a good adaptation?
Until it isn't. Okay. I mean, yeah, he basically covered every single point.
Do you see any influences from the movie in the manga?
Not as much as I was expecting, especially like coming like right off of the movie. I thought I was going to see more when I did this read, but honestly, like the movie has a lot of that like early 2000s Japanese cinematic goofiness that we talked about.
Yeah, it has a much different tone.
And that tone can be a little off-settling when you're juxtaposing it to like children's heads getting blown off. But at the same time, the manga, especially for the first 3 volumes, or there's a way more than 3 volumes. I think in terms of the collector's editions, not in terms of the actual volumes.
Yeah.
But for like the first like 2/3, 3/5 of the story, it takes itself like super seriously, and then anime stuff starts happening. More at first, it's like a little bit, and then it like escalates. Like you got people doing like these jumps that are impossible, and that kind of stuff I can forgive, especially in comics. And then you have them dodging bullets, and I'm like, all right, wait a minute. I mean, maybe I know too much about guns and how some of these weapons work, and I'm sitting there reading it going, no, that's not gonna...
I know next to nothing about firearms, and I was seeing a lot of the Kazuo stuff and being just like, this is a lot.
The one that... the first one that got me, like, made me roll my eyes really hard is when he's chasing Shuya through the forest, and he takes off his coat and he whips it on a tree branch, and he flies around the tree like he's Levi.
That's the point where I'm kind of like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And even then, I was like, you know what? That's a little goofy.
But it gets worse.
But at the end of that fight, after he fought the martial arts dude, and then he goes up to the tree and just copies like a palm strike, I'm like, it'd be one thing to like copy a martial arts technique because you're a sociopath and you can just break things down to their mechanical structures and you're not like impeded by like emotional setbacks. That's fine. But when it's like literally, I can make all the leaves fall off of a tree just by, yeah, you know. And he's looking at his hand. That's the point where like Kazuo, is that his name?
Kazuo Kiriyama.
Okay, that's the point where
the baddest motherfucker from Seriosky Jr.
in the novel, a lot of his wins comes from being intelligent, ambushing people, and a little bit of luck, like just having the machine gun as his weapon.
Yeah.
Where in this,
never ever runs out of ammunition.
Yeah, in this, he's literally supernatural. He has supernatural human stamina, to the point. Another shout out to a video I'm working on is this version of the character is a version that I would say would fucking trounce like Yagami in a fight.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think he's more intelligent.
Does Light fight hand to hand ever?
Yeah. Even with the Death Note, even knowing his name, I'm like, this guy I think is more intelligent. He can break things down better just because they made him a superhuman. So
a couple of those, there were a couple instances early on whenever I was reading it that I tried really hard. Like the tree one is a good example where the way I was trying to like look at it was Shuya is seeing him fall down from the trees, whatever like that. So one thing I tried to do, which became harder and harder as the books went, was I tried to kind of envision this from Shuya's point of view, where like instead of him actually doing that, it was just from Shuya's perception, he was just that fast getting down there, and it seemed supernaturally fast because he's actively chasing him, and it's a heightened, tense situation.
That works until it's from so many characters' perspectives.
That's just it. Yeah. The farther you go, it's just like, okay, I'll try this and see if it works, and then after a while, it's like, nah, this doesn't work. It's just crazy.
Like even surviving the explosion in the book in the movie.
Which explosion?
The third man's bomb. Is that it's impossible already, but in the book you can kind of like, maybe the bomb's not as big as like you imagine. It's big enough for people to notice, but in this it's like an entire building literally turns to ash. And I'm sitting there going, the force that he would experience from that would just shatter his insides.
Well, it was an older truck, so it was probably made of steel.
The shockwaves would go through. I just know too much about explosives. It would kill you.
I don't know anything about explosives.
But I'm like, he's literally superhuman. And seeing it on the page and seeing like the gravity of the explosion, I'm like, you need to recruit him for like the Suicide Squad or something. I guess, you know what? They have bombs on the necks. Already. There you go.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's keep going.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Characters are not my guy. I ain't claiming him. Shuya Nanahara. He's still an idiot.
He's still an idiot.
I think he's a bigger idiot.
I think he's way more idealistic in the manga than he is in the book.
I think the ending is...
Does anyone want hot chocolate?
Yes.
I also won't say no to that. That sounds great.
This weather makes me really hot chocolatey. The ending, like when they get off on the boat, is what really did it for me. And I was like, I had a Koontz in mind, and this became like the runner-up. I was like, this is so stupid. Like, you already almost got your girlfriend killed because you had to sit there and have your big like anime, like that. I said I don't have.
Where he's thinking about shooting Kiriyama.
I said I don't have that problem before. I do have that problem whenever it's like a logical thing. Like, this person has literally killed the majority of your friends. You know he's killed the majority of your friends. He's aiming a gun at your girlfriend. He just shot the dude who's been protecting you this whole time in the stomach. You have a gun, you have him dead to rights, and you're still hesitating?
He killed Shinji and Yutaka and Sugimura.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like... I'm like, my brother in Christ. I am like the biggest Superman fanboy on the planet. I choose life whenever possible.
Self-defense.
At this point, Batman would pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Batman would shoot this kid in this situation.
My hope is that I would only take a life in the absolute darkest moment of self-defense, but I would have capped the shit out of that child.
And the thing is this moment, it would have been perfectly fine if they would have scaled back all of that like hesitation, because this is him coming to terms with this is just how it is, which is kind of his character arc, is
but that's
learning to defend somebody.
It annoys the piss out of me, but it also gives him an arc, whereas he doesn't have an arc in the novel or the movie.
Yeah, so I'm glad that he got this moment, but I think it dragged on so much.
Oh,
and
God,
then when you immediately follow it with the boat thing, his idealism becomes naivete.
Where he doesn't kill those guys. I'm really surprised that Shogo didn't kill all those guards that he tied up.
I probably would have shot Shuya in the knee and then shot them and been like, learn from this.
Now I'm going to die. Learn or don't.
Yeah, Shuya just mainly got on my nerves throughout the majority of this. Like,
you go ahead first. You go first.
I appreciate the optimism, and I also life first all the time. But I think that came across a lot better in the movie and in the book.
I agree. Like, aside from my edgelord jokes, I like the optimistic character. I like the person who wants to be better than the situation they're in. Yeah. And he tries, and I give him props for trying. But at some point, it becomes stupid.
He said, I'm going to protect Noriko, meaning you're responsible for her life and you have to defend her. Like, I'd never, ever want to kill someone. But if I was in that situation and Noriko was Drake or Emma or both, you better believe that I would shoot that guy. Hef, what do you think of Shuya Nanahara?
Same.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
The tension is rising.
I love having three of us, but sometimes we get to these points where one person just covers all the points.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
He was whinier. He was whinier, and I didn't like it as much. But what killed me on it is that it's just he's whinier for so much longer because this is a 15 volume gone, and like you were saying with like that arc of a moment or whatever like that. That was a whole book.
Yeah, it was like
I went through and
it was
looked
like a whole volume.
That was a whole single volume of him having his little arc thing there.
I feel like there's multiple, like the Kiriyama and Karate Man Sugimura fight takes way too long.
I have a theory, and that's they said they have to be so many volumes, and then he got to a point where he went, I'm out of material. That's my theory. If I'm being fair. Or if I'm trying to like play devil's advocate.
The other one is Shinji in his resolution, and she's like, okay, Shinji's gonna die in this chapter. No. Shinji's gonna die in this chapter. No. Shinji's gonna die in this chapter. No. It's just like,
He may have had a limit, but I'm also like in the kind of the camp where like as I'm reading through it, they were trying to be like, I know so many chapters of like so many chapters of a manga can collect into a volume, and I know sometimes they waver, or they don't waver on it has to be this set amount, and I feel like that's kind of what that last little arc was he said you have to make a full volume, and I'm like, and he's like I literally only have 10 minutes of material.
Well,
he's like shit.
But they were first published in a monthly magazine though, not in trade paperbacks.
Okay.
I know they just typically bind them together at some point.
Yeah, but that's a second release after the publication in the magazine.
I don't know. I mean, I'm also trying to justify something that I really don't want to say was bad just because it was bad.
I'm okay saying it's bad.
I don't know if I'd say it's bad.
It's bad to me.
I think it's not for me.
I think that I don't want to like. There's a lot of good in this manga, and I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum. And I absolutely believe if I would have read this in high school, it would probably be like a very high tier manga for me. Because just like the things that bother me now would not have bothered me when I was 16. And also just, I think the biggest thing is free time. It was so hard for me to read all 15 of these.
I underestimated how long this was. I was crunching the wire finishing this on time.
I finished it at like 3 or 3:30.
And I have about 10 times the amount of free time that you do.
Well, honestly, the only reason I actually finished it is because I spent like 12 hours in the ER with my mom on Sunday. And all I had to do was sit there. She's fine.
That's good.
During my 12-hour shifts at work, anytime I had downtime, I'm like sitting in the corner and people keep trying to talk to me like, I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read.
I just forgot how wordy it is because it's so like it felt like by the time you're done with them because there's just so much dialogue.
At least if you're reading Naruto or Dragon Ball, like it's fast.
Yeah, there's some of those things you're just like flip.
I honestly, because I really do like this, but reading it this time to finish it in time for the podcast, made it a little stressful.
Let me say, I like this manga until I don't. I think that this would have been the best version of the story if it wasn't for a couple of different things. Which
we'll get into.
Yeah. But there is a lot of good. To me, I felt like it reminded me of reading The Stand, where it's like such high highs and then just these terrible lows that just piss me off. Let's keep going.
Noriko
Nakagawa. I think this is her best version. I think this is the best version of this character.
I agree. There's her. It's like you all saying with the movie, like her physically being there makes such a difference.
It helps
so much. Oh yeah,
I forgot she was there half the time in the book.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, being able to visually see her and what she's doing just like elevates it.
The scene where she falls asleep and she drew a picture of Shuya and he finds the picture. He's
it's
like,
cute.
Is this me?
It's cute as crap.
Are my ears really that big? I'm like, oh my god, it's so cute.
Yeah. I have a friend at work who does little doodles and she draws the ears just like that.
Then her scene in the beginning where like she gets shot in the leg and then like she's just like, can we please get a doctor for Yoshitoki? Like her being on the page made that so much more like,
yeah,
go girl, good for you. You know, like her presence very much needs to be visual.
I only have one complaint with Naruko in the manga, and it's not her fault. Is that they took away the kill.
Oh my god, I was so mad.
I understand why they did it because it gives Shuya an arc, and he's the protagonist. I get it, but I prefer how it went down in the book.
I agree.
If anything, they should have had them double tap together.
Yeah. No, only my finger is on the trigger.
Yeah.
Just have him like G Gundam it.
Yeah, guns over guns.
It was that scene where he's got. I swear, it showed the spread of him and all the other students behind him like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
It was the father-son Kamehameha.
No, it was Rey and all the Jedi.
I think more in terms of Dragon Ball Z than I think in terms of new Star Wars.
I just think in Star Wars, new, old, whatever. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna let. My mom told me if I don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So someone else talk about Shogo Kawada.
Oh man, he's my boy. I love Shogo.
I just like Shogo as a character.
Yeah,
like,
he's great.
I could see. He does have a lot of the problem of like he's just too damn smart. He's too damn smart. He's too damn capable.
He's 35 years old.
They drew him to look very much not like, well, you're not in high school. Get out of here.
Middle school. Yeah, I'm in 9th grade, so.
Yeah, it's a naive redemption there. Yeah. No, the art didn't do him any favors as far as seeing,
No, he's a whole year older, so you have to draw him as a 50-year-old man.
He's like a battle-hardened, bullet-clad 15-year-old soldier.
That's how all anime draws a person a year older than the main characters, is his old people.
So here's... No. This is not attacking Shogo specifically. Shogo's just a good example. One of the things that really... I think I really had like 4 issues, and there were 2 that I can get over and kind of accept, and 2 that I really can't. One thing that I kind of just got over it as it went on is I don't like the variation in character design styles, because there are characters like Shinji Mamura, who looks like he's from like a super girly shoujo manga. Mm-hmm. And then there's characters like Shogo, who looks like he's from Fist of the North Star. And then the bad guy looks like he's from JoJo's.
This is literally one of my favorite parts of the manga.
It's like, it's art whiplash. Like, I feel like 3 different artists did this.
Oh, I love it. I think that it brings out a lot of, like, it visually shows you who the character is on top of, like, the story.
I think it's important, like, because there's so many kids, like, they have to be distinct. So I understand why they're kind of radical.
You can have distinct character designs and pick a style. To me, it's distracting.
I think this all looks great, aside from the
I'm not talking about the quality of the art. I'm talking about the choice.
I think it looks great. I think that helps all the characters stand out. It gets their character across very well.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but it's distracting and it takes me out of it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Why?
Because that makes it less enjoyable for you. I like things to be more enjoyable for people.
Was very good.
No, I get what he's saying.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying I was not affected by that.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really have a problem with it.
But I love Shogo.
I agree that he looks way too old for what he. But also, like, that's like kind of a problem. That if you're going to have a problem with the way Shogo looks, you're probably just going to have a problem with the way other people are going to look. Because, like, you get again scenes with Mitsuko where it's just like, no, she ain't 14. Holy shit. Like, I just don't have. It's just something I didn't have a problem with. Also, probably helps that I was. 17,
and
18.
some of them look way too old. Shogo, Mitsuko.
Yeah. Like, well, and again, I think the biggest thing is the difference of time between when I read it versus when you read it. Like, because to me, this doesn't look that strange because I read these when I was like 17.
I read this early college.
So, like 20, I don't know, like from
19.
When you're younger, you're weird. That's just how it is. Like, you see girls as women at that age, so like that's not really shocking to me because the girls I was primarily interested in didn't look like that, but like you're looking at them as women still.
I think you're looking at them as peers.
The most like egregious like example I can come up with is Shinji and Yutaka. Because they look like one was drawn for Death Note and one was drawn for Astro Boy.
Oh, I fucking loved that. That cracked me up.
That, I will agree with you. Like I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I would just, to me, it didn't really take a lot. Again, to me, the dynamic here is I read it when I was 17. You're reading it at 34, 35.
All of the smart characters are drawn very detailed, and all of the stupid characters have a simple art. Like all of the dumb characters look like this.
Yeah, it's good.
All of the smart characters look like this.
Great visual representation.
It's like the artist said, "You're not smart enough for me to spend time on drawing you."
I loved that.
I don't lie, I'm not smart enough to put that together, and now I'm here with it, and I'm like,
Oh,
no,
no.
he's absolutely right.
That was in my notes.
That's hilarious.
So,
Okay, Sugimura,
He's a good boy.
he's my favorite character until he's not.
he's my favorite character throughout. So, of course, Daniel likes the martial arts character. So, the one who's an orbiter simp who dies trying to protect a woman, which is my ultimate fantasy.
I liked the resolution better in the novel.
I have mixed feelings. If it would have been a little less anime, I think this would have been my favorite.
If it didn't take an entire volume for that fight to happen, I would have been more okay with it.
Because I kind of like that, he's down on the ground, he's dying, because dude has bulletproof vest, gets up, and she chooses not to run because he confessed right there. Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have said anything.
And that just pulls at my heartstrings. I love shit like that. I'm so melodramatic.
Sugimura should have been a man who slung way more than he did. I'm just saying. To me, like
I relate to him.
I mean, I don't know. Like from my standpoint, like he's so unrealistic.
Yeah,
like he is an unrealistic character.
Yeah,
like even in a book of already unrealistic characters, he's still over the top.
Oh, I relate to him so much. I'm like, man, you do all of this physical training to raise your confidence, and then you just can't even talk to the girl you like.
Why don't you just go find yourself a nice girl who's into chi and flowers, my guy? That's really what you need. Just don't get shot when you find her.
That's my ultimate fantasy.
What's in that hot chocolate you drink?
I have a martyr's complex.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know. It's an evolution flaw.
Evolution? I mean, that seems more like a Daniel issue more than an evolution issue.
There's actually one thing I wanted to bring up about Shogo.
Okay, Shogo.
the part where I really got off board is when he shot his girlfriend.
No.
So
I loved it.
He says, "All right, I'm killing everybody else, and then I'm going to kill myself so you can win."
Mm-hmm.
And then she turns her gun on him because there's somebody behind him, and he shoots her. But if his goal was to let her win, why didn't he just let her shoot him?
I have a defense for that. Because he's been playing the game so hard that he automatically acted on instinct instead of, his heart. He was being himself instead of the person that she wanted him to be in that moment.
Then I don't think he really loved her all that much.
I disagree. That's just sometimes how it works. He even says it. It was the game. It corrupted him. And that's his tragic flaw. And that's why he's trying so hard in this game to not be that person again. I think that's brilliantly written. That's a hard disagree.
I'm not saying it's badly written. I'm saying I don't like it.
Okay, well, I think that's probably up there in my favorite moments for this.
It makes me not like the character because
it makes me like him more.
If her life is priority one, then it's priority one. You don't shoot her for any reason.
It's just not how it works when you're in. That's just not how instinct works.
I've never been in that situation, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us have. That's just speculation.
I can pull up plenty of studies on PTSD and war trauma.
Same.
You can also pull up plenty of studies on...
No. I don't have a lot to offer to this particular conversation because I can agree with both of your opinions.
Same.
As far as a character, in terms of a character flaw, yes, it's a flaw in the character as far as what Shogo is actually trying to do. But I can also see his standpoint where, this whole game is just made to be fucked up, and sometimes good people just do fucked up things. And
they-
it doesn't make any, like, they're just not redeemable.
I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying I don't like it.
I mean, that's fine. I don't see a debate on that. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
I don't think-
like I can't eat pineapple. I don't like it, but I can't eat pineapple.
Okay. I'm not talking about Mitsuko. You guys can if you want.
Aren't we on Shinji? Are we skipping some people?
I hate you guys. I'm not talking about Shinji. You guys.
I think this is the best version of Shinji.
I think the movie is the best version of him because it's shorter.
I love this because he freaks out on his friend more and is like way more visceral. I get the stress that he's going through comes across a lot better in the manga than it does in the book.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
As far as that, Shinji is just a kind of character where, like, he's if you're talking about a character that's way too smart as far as what he is, like, Shinji is definitely the character I have the biggest problem with as far as, like, the book
And
itself.
Shogo and Kazuo.
I know you're triggered by all of it, but if you're giving me, like, a
He's
reason,
the worst.
He is the worst. And to me, that's definitive.
I think in the manga he comes across better as the guy who's too smart for his own good.
Yes, I agree with that.
Which isn't something that comes across good in the book at all.
To me,
and in the movie they just kind of skim over.
Well,
it.
in the book, they just kind of, to me, it comes out of nowhere. Yeah. Like, it's just like, hey, my uncle has this, which he was making the jokes about, but that's absolutely a fact. Like, this random uncle taught him everything. At least in the manga version, you get some kind of background stuff onto it. It's still over the top. Mm-hmm. But you get a little bit more background on it because you're actually seeing a little bit of this unfold. So, still over the top, but a little less offensive, if that makes sense.
I think it was less offensive, but it's because this is my third time being exposed to this story in less than a month. So I'm just kind of
which he is not a fan.
Yeah. I think my overall, the hardest thing about this manga for me was I already read this book. I already experienced this story, and I didn't like it. And now I'm reading it again.
Yeah, and that just puts a bad taste in anybody's mouth. Like, realistically, which I understand that, and that's your takes are not misunderstood. Trust me.
Kiriyama.
We talked about.
Yeah.
We can skip him. Mitsuko. Who wants to go first?
I'm not talking about Mitsuko.
I think every time she was sexual, she should have been portrayed as the doll. I think that would have fixed 90% of the issues that I have with this book. Because it was creepy. It let you get the psychology she was going through across a lot better than when it actually showed cum leaking out of her.
The hypersexualization is just way overplayed, and I don't necessarily like. It's not enough that she's fractured. Mm-hmm. Like but there's ways. To me, there was ways you can do that without making it so obliquely over the top, like porn, basically. Like there's like
it's pornographic.
It is pornographic.
I've unfortunately worked with too many kids that act exactly like her.
Well, acting like it is one thing, but visually seeing it.
Yeah, I've had to visually see it, and it sucks.
I mean, and that's the thing too.
Yeah.
I mean, I ideally you wouldn't have to. I mean, I get the idea that
don't
like
work it's like
yeah, it's to me the biggest flaw of this particular manga is the sexualization where there doesn't need to be.
Yes.
And that happens. And Mitsuko is just the easiest one to target because hers are so graphically.
There are one or two others, but
there are.
This is actually one of my biggest complaints. It's not my Koontz because there's one thing that just took the cake for me. But her being over the top sexual, I was fine with because that's just who the character is. But then you have characters who are not that, and we still get their panty shots. And I'm like, who was, Sugimura's friend, the one that died?
Torohiki.
Yeah, like, we get her panty shots, and I'm like, this is a character who
crazy girl, you see all of it.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like, why do we need her panty shot when she doesn't use sex as a weapon? The kid that does that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's her backstory. But then we have like 4 or 5 other girls that we're still getting this stuff for.
You could have easily shown that sex with her was her weapon without 2 solo masturbation scenes and her raping a dying man, a dying boy.
Yeah.
I still would have just portrayed that entire scene. If you're going to do it, use the doll as representation.
I wouldn't have done it at all.
I would have, but I
I probably would have just removed the character entirely.
It's one of those, like, this is, to me, it's one of those, like, the easiest way I can like put it is that kids change it. Like, having kids changes the way you view things, and this book suffers from that. Like, back when I read it when I was like 17, and again I can kind of like put it both, and I'm gonna try to explain this in a way that it's understood.
So you don't sound like a perp.
I can. No.
I think I would have thought that this was hot when I was 16.
It's not even just a matter of hot.
Yeah.
I can accept it better as a 17-year-old reading about 15-year-olds.
Yeah, because you're both children.
You're seeing, like Daniel said, you're seeing them as peers. Like, so to a degree, mentally, I can take myself out of that. So I was able to read this book where you're reading this as an adult man with children, which is already bad enough.
With a daughter the same age.
Exactly. Whereas I read this when I was 17. Me doing this now is rereading it. I'm able to see the flaws of it, but I'm also able to take myself out of it because I remember reading this at 17.
And I don't claim any of my children.
Well,
so.
and being 34 now, I can read this and be like, this is a lot and this is way too much. But I am able to sidestep that and say, like, I can read it and not have a huge strong emotion towards it just because I experienced it before as a peer reading about other peers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And then I'm reading it for the first time, and she is a 9th grade girl, and my daughter is a 9th grade girl.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting reading it on my couch, and I'm on one of her sex scenes, and then my daughter sits down on the couch next to me to read her book, and I'm like, I should go to another room. Wait, this isn't porn, but it is.
I don't view it as pornographic, so I think if you get turned on by it, there might be something wrong with it.
You don't have to get turned on for something to be pornographic. Like, I don't get turned on by feet porn, but it's still porn. But I complain about a lot of the stuff that we read and watch, but this is like I think this is only the second time in over 2 years of history that I was genuinely offended and wish that it didn't exist.
Yeah, this doesn't offend me.
I can see both sides. Like, I'm right in the middle between both of you. I completely understand what you're talking about. But again, with me, like, I read this years ago, so I'm able to kind of take myself back out of it.
What does it add to a story?
It doesn't.
To have two separate scenes where a 15-year-old girl strips off her clothes and fingers herself to death.
No, I agree. Like, there's no reason.
It doesn't
for
add
it.
anything. It just doesn't offend me. It's a drawing. Drawings don't offend me, and words don't offend me. If it was like live action and I had to sit and watch a 15-year-old actress and do it,
most words don't offend you.
Most words don't offend me. Like 90%.
I think it is a perception. Like, this whole book is going to be based on where you are as a person in your life, and there's just going to be things that you can sit with and then things that you can't.
When you have kids and you watch media with children in them, you picture your children in there. I can't tolerate this.
I understand.
Yeah.
I would at no point say at any time that you are wrong on that. There's no point where I would tell you that. And I agree with you that with as far as what Mitsuko and everything is, it's too much.
Yeah. Okay. Yonemi Kamon Kenpatsu Sakamochi Kitano.
You want to talk about something that offended me?
He just
this guy's face.
He just looks stupid.
He does. He looks like Miss Piggy fan fiction.
He looks like MODOK.
What's a MODOK?
He's the giant brain dude. Well, he's not even a giant brain. He's a giant head dude from Marvel.
I don't think I've ever seen that thing.
He's the head of the scientist peoples.
Scientist peoples?
The guys in the yellow suits.
I was trying to think of a good joke for this, but I can't.
He probably gives good head?
No, I was trying to think of a yellow suits joke.
Oh. I'm not familiar with this character at all.
Fuck. AIM.
Oh, okay. I didn't. No. Is AIM? Is that like anti-shield or something like that?
No, it's they're a think group. These guys. They're like one of the most common like stormtrooper-esque like villains. Like it's like Hydra troops, and then probably them. Or all We don't need to talk about
Yeah, no, I generally have no knowledge of this. This doesn't even trigger a memory.
I didn't need to see this character's O face, is all I'm saying.
Of course he has one. Why would he not?
I must have blocked that out.
Yeah,
It's when he's raping the
raping? What, is he just a head?
No,
Or is he
the Sakamuchi.
Okay.
When
All
he's
right.
the
Well,
orphanage
I'm back.
lady.
I'm back.
I didn't need to see his O face.
That scene was so tame compared to everything else in the book. I forgot it happened.
When I first read this manga back when I was in college, I didn't know what I was in for, and then I turned to a 2-page spread of that. And I was
Yeah, that basically.
I was afraid for I was like turning the pages like this because you guys talked it up so much, and I was like, no. Yeah, it's not that bad.
I don't like his O face in it.
I think it was jarring for me because, again, 17-year-old Hef was not ready to see that.
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of
that. Yeah, like that level of stuff. Like, I think back then, Gunsmith Cats was probably the most nudity I saw on any sort of manga like that.
Probably.
I like violence. I don't get a lot of sexual violence in the things I read.
That one was a lot. And it just left an impression because it was the first thing I saw. And then, the rest of it was just kind of like, oh my goodness, But, again, 17 Hef already knew what he was in for. So, that's that. The rest of it was just kind of, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine.
I
have the same problems with
in the book as in the book.
Yeah, it's nothing new.
All right, so let's have a general discussion on Battle Royale, Angel's Border. Just some quick.
I cried.
Just some quick background. I also cried. It's a spin-off of the novel, not the manga. It was written by Ko Shun Takami, the author of the novel, so it's within the same continuity as the book. There are 2 separate chapters. The art for Chapter 1 was done by Miyoko Unishi, and the art for Chapter 2 was done by Yohei Oguma. It's 1 volume long, 2 short stories that expand on the lives of various characters, but it's all about characters who are in the lighthouse, those 6 girls. The first episode is about Haruka and Yukie, who's the class rep character, and Haruka's one of the other girls in the lighthouse. And then the second episode is about Chisato Matsui, who was one of the other girls, and an experience that she had with the third man, Shinji Mamura, and why she has such a crush on him.
It's because he's pretty.
And this has been released in English and translated. You can buy this and read this, and I highly recommend it. I thought it was very good.
It is very good.
Yeah.
I love death games. I love ultra-violence, but I think ultra-violence is best if you can punctuate it with character moments. Mm-hmm. And this added a lot to girls that you didn't really get a lot in the mainline story.
I think that generally in all 3 versions of it, the manga, the movie, the novel, the lighthouse scene is just kind of one of the hardest ones to swallow. It's one of the more sad scenes, and this just amplifies that because you don't, like Daniel just said, you don't get a lot of background on those characters.
Yeah. Because in the manga, you just Shuya just wakes up and then they're just kind of there, and then you just kind of filled in teeny weeny a little bit until they all end up dead. You
get a lot on Yukie and Yuko,
right?
Yeah.
but not the other ones.
4. Yeah. Whereas this one, I wasn't ready to read this whenever I did.
No, nobody was.
Well,
it was so sad.
Well, I didn't know what I was I didn't do any background. I didn't read anything that you sent me as far as that. I just picked this up and I was like, okay, fine, I'll just read it. Whatever. I didn't know that it was actually those girls specifically.
I didn't either when I started reading.
Yeah, and it took me a minute to figure out what was going on, and I was like, oh.
I didn't even know that until I started the second chapter and the second story, and realized it was also about a girl from the lighthouse.
Yeah. I was reading it on my phone, and Jackie came up to me after I was near the end of it, and she just goes, You look sad. And I looked at her and I said, sugar-free chocolate makes me sad. I am depressed.
I need to bring up something that made me mad, but you guys keep talking while I'm looking this up.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say on it. I mean, it's a one-shot story to elaborate on characters that didn't really get a chance to do much in the actual main line of the story. I think there's... I mean, it's just extra content of stuff that, you know, and I'm glad we got it. Honestly, like I thought it was actually very good. Like it's one of those things you don't ask for, but was a nice treat.
Okay, so I say that words don't offend me, but I found words that offended me.
Everybody's offended by some words.
Okay, so I sometimes look up reviews for things before we come in here, just to kind of see if I can put words to things that I'm feeling. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I found was a 1-star review for this book.
Okay.
So I'm going to read it for everybody.
I wonder if they read... Never mind, go ahead.
Why does this exist? Where's the gore? Where's the thrills? I don't understand why this was created in the first place. It's just a small segment of the original book, and it doesn't add much at all to the source material. I'm just confused. I wish I could read a manga of the actual Battle Royale or something based on that premise. I love horror mages on the plot.
So
he's reviewing this, like the sides.
Okay. But this was way too fast and flippant. And it's a she.
Okay, sorry.
Katie Colson.
Hi, Katie.
Hello.
Katie, I'm sure you're a lovely person, but you made me more sad.
You're like sugar-free chocolate.
This is edgier than any book review I've ever put out.
I had a similar experience. That guy who McCord movies on YouTube, who we used to watch for like Salem's Lot updates.
Yeah.
He did another Salem's Lot update, and I watched it, and he started talking about why he prefers the miniseries to the book, and it's just he said the exact opposite of what we said in our review. He's like, I just prefer that he's not like Dracula. I prefer that he's monstrous, that he has blue skin. I just in the book he's just like Dracula from the novel Dracula, and that's fine, but I just think it's strictly worse.
I wish I could do accents like you guys.
And it just goes to show that
there's just a wide range of opinions.
Yeah.
But I read this and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I know the manga. This person seems to not know that this manga exists. Mm-hmm. I know the manga exists. I've also read the book. I think that this adds to the tragedy of the scene, that I don't need the gore and the thrills.
In their defense, this manga is not readily available on bookstore shelves.
Yeah, somebody buy my 4 copies.
Yeah, we need to lower the price on those.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's good.
Oh, fun fact. I'm attempting to sell mine now.
Go for it.
It is on eBay. I have a starting bid of $400, and I currently have 56 watchers.
When I first released them, we had a lot of offers and a lot of people watching them, but none of them were high enough, so I need to repost them and lower the price a little bit.
I had one guy from Ireland.
Also, yours is complete. The one
mine is complete. Yeah. I offered also up to, I'm just like $600. You got them. Like
that's honestly not a bad price.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see finger guns here in the next couple of days on my eBay thing. Go bing 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 bing. Like my phone is going to explode.
If people keep offering, or a few people offer to buy just the 4th volume that I have, because the first 3 are kind of easy to find. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, I'm never going to be able to offload the first 3.
Yeah, mine's it's a set or nothing. Yeah. Like I'm not doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
No, that's smart.
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Alright, scary shit. Are these mangas scary?
Okay, I have
but they're traumatizing.
I have 2 thoughts on that. When I first read these, I was not quite as used to the hyper-violence that I crave today. Mm-hmm. This was pre-Higurashi for me. So I read this, and I'm like, what's happening to these children is horrible. And the violence, honestly, was enough to get me kind of like, I would hate for this to happen, sort of scared. These days, I'm like, That's the difference between 2006 Daniel, now Daniel.
It's worse because they're kids, but with the violence, I'm just way too desensitized.
Yeah, to it. Now I'm like,
meh.
I kind of find some of it funny. I'm like, oh, that gore is so cool.
I was like,
look at the way that's drawn.
I guess they don't have to have that girl's eyeball flopping off the side of her head.
See, I love. that's one of my favorite parts is just the way the gore's drawn now. But back then, I was like,
yeah, it definitely would. Like, if I read this in like middle school or high school, it probably would have fucked me up hard.
But after you've read this, and after you've added like Higurashi, and you've added like 10 other death games, and then you've gone out of your way to read something like Midori or that's that Arrow Goro shit. I'm like, oh, I'm so desensitized. It has to be completely bananas to even get my attention.
I'm generally the same. Like, it's the manga version also has like it's being able to see it and not conceptualize it yourself, I think changes how you feel about it. Like, seeing it to me takes down the fear a lot because everything's very much like I don't want to say cartoony, but like
I agree. When I was reading the book, it was worse. It wasn't really scary, but it was worse because I was picturing children,
right?
Not these 30 and 20-year-old people.
Shogo Kawatas.
Yeah, like
yeah. Seeing it actually lessens the fear to me.
I don't remember what I was thinking about.
No, I'm also in the camp of like if extreme stuff gets you, don't read it.
There was a point in my life where for work I had to literally sit down and look at gunshot victims.
Yummy.
Just continue. It's when I was trying to be a police officer. They made me look at violence of crime scenes. It was like, here are some crime scene photos of a car wreck. Here are some crime scene photos of a dude who got shot 56 times.
I pictured this, but when you said previous job, like the job you're working now.
Oh, no.
And I'm sitting there being like,
Food Lion.
I'm just like,
I have gotten to see some of the crime.
If you want to bag groceries at Food Lion, you got to look at all these pictures.
Okay, well,
what part of Clarksburg you working, man?
You might.
I ended a friendship because the person that I walked in on was watching Cannibal Holocaust.
I love Cannibal Holocaust.
I punched them. And left their house.
That movie's so fucked up.
I just can't. Like, torture is... I can't do torture. It's just not... Like, I can't even get through that. Is it Hostel? The ones that torture or whatever like that?
Yeah.
I can't do torture. Like, extreme fucking physical torture, I just cannot deal with.
Yeah, I can't watch, like, Saw or Hostel or any of that kind of stuff.
I cannot. Like, that's... You want to talk about something that triggers me? That's what gets me. Like I said, I ended a friendship because of Cannibal Holocaust. Absolutely did. And I have no regrets.
Yeah, I ended a friendship over Attack of the Clones, and I also have no regrets. I actually didn't like him very much anyway, so...
Oh my god, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Kings and Koontz have... What's your king for both, I guess?
As far as manga, the character depth is just better. Like, there is characters that just get... There's characters that get payoffs. There's characters that have a lot more exploration as far as things. And generally, I'm going to always say that's better.
No, I agree. I think that...
He looks like Batman. I love it.
He's a comic book character.
I know.
Not just because he's drawn, but, like, he's superhuman.
Some of the sad backstories go on too long for me. But yes, overall, I think that's its biggest strength, is that the characters are better.
I genuinely felt bad, like, for the Mitsuko's little associate girl who really liked that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
that was bad.
It was bad, but, like, that's like an example of, like, where that was strictly improvement, I think. Like, yeah, I got to feel on that one.
No, I agree. I can't believe... I kept reading after it showed her put a penis in her mouth, but...
I mean, but, like, I understood, like, the feeling of the story.
That was rough.
It doesn't hurt so much.
That was rough, but I could kind of see where it, like, adds to her story.
Yeah. But stuff like that, like, is what I'm overall talking about.
No, I agree. And I also really liked the two girls with the megaphone, their little backstory. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of the earlier ones about the side characters who have a side story... a backstory that's like 1 to 2 chapters long. Those were good. When I got annoyed was when some of the main characters had them and they took like a volume to explain.
No, I agree.
My king is is this.
The Batman shot.
Yeah, it's just, it's ridiculous and stupid, but
it looks really cool.
It's just so cool. It's just so cool.
It is.
That's honestly a good. That'd be a phone background.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And it honestly, this like exemplifies a lot of what I don't like about it story character wise, but just in terms of art, like Batman Kiriyama is just so cool. And this is specifically, this one is my favorite. It's just so cool.
Looks so fucking great.
Yeah. I wanted him to kill Shuga. I was like, go Kiriyama!
Kiriyama wins the game.
You fucking orphan motherfucker, you do it.
Be cool.
Do it for mom and dad.
Daniel?
My king. So am I doing a king for both of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
My king for the mainline manga is I just really love the way the gore is drawn.
It is super detailed.
I think it's super detailed, and I honestly think, especially if you're not desensitized, it'll add to the visceral feelings that even stuff like the book is trying to make you feel.
Yep.
So, like if you're not desensitized to this, I think this is a great read for like a maybe not a 17-year-old. I'd say like that 17 to 20 year range.
Yeah, and like Hef was saying, the sex stuff doesn't come across as gross when you're that age.
No. Yeah. And I'm not going to revisit that. We'd already talked about it.
So, and for Angels, it's just the emotions it made me feel.
Same. That's also my king for that one.
Yeah, it's just, it got me to feel things, and I like it when manga makes me feel
and
things.
I'll just go ahead and say I don't really have a Koontz for Angel's Border. If you made me come up with one, it would just be super forced.
Same.
It would be super forced. I'll force one, and shout out to, hold on, what's this person's name again?
Katie.
Katie.
Katie, I think that if it would have been punctuated, I like the way it was punctuated with like a little bit of the violence in between. I think if it would have escalated it by like 5%.
Yeah, okay. But if it had like violence on the scale,
no, I don't want it like
it would have taken away.
I want it like 5% more.
That's fair.
Not 10, not 20, 5.
That's fine.
That's my kids.
Kind of the thing about it, and I'm surprised we didn't mention this, is it almost, because it assumes that you've read the novel or the manga, or even seen the movie, and you know what's going to happen. So you almost didn't need any violence, because you could just assume that the audience knows what happens. Yeah. But I'm glad it's there.
I kind of like the punctuation of it.
I agree. I prefer that it's there, but I also think it would have worked without it.
And I like that the violence is out of chronological order. Mm-hmm. Or the violence is in chronological order, but it's like interspliced through the story we're following.
Yes.
And my Koontz, are we...
We'll snake it back, so give your Koontz.
Koontz for the mainline book, or the manga, is they shot the cat. It was going to be that she is a fucking idiot and he didn't kill the guards at the end, but I'm still not over the cat dying. When that girl died, I was like, good cat killer. I'm glad you died.
I had a lot of different stuff, but it just has to be...
Which kind of goes against my whole point about Shogo, because of course you're going to shoot something that sneaks up on you. Yeah. But seeing the cat die, I was like...
It was sad.
I was like... It's a kitten.
Yeah.
I forgot that it happened.
And it's rough too. Like it is a full
it's a dead cat. But if you think about it, they gassed that whole island, so they killed all the cats.
Yeah, anyway. They killed all the cats anyway. It just shocked me so much that I'm sitting there reading it at work, and I'm like, I'm not really glad the girl died, but you guys get my point.
If I said anything other than the sex stuff, I would just be wrong. For me.
Same. I had a lot. There's a few things I had problems with, but if you're asking me overall, I think the biggest thing that I really didn't like was they took Noriko's kill away from her. I think that bothered me a lot.
It bothered me too.
And the easy fix was a double tap.
I mean, really anything. And they just
as long as they don't go back to back.
Together then. Pow, 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 pow.
Yeah, Contra style, yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about some anime nonsense.
Like
the bullets spin together.
Yeah. Over the top extreme stuff
just
aside.
Increase the number of beers I'm drinking tonight by 2.
Yeah. They make it all what's that movie Wanted?
Oh yeah, they just the curved bullet thing where they just swing it.
You want to talk about a bad adaptation.
All right, rankings. I had Battle Royale at 11, above Junji Ito's Frankenstein. And Battle Royale Angel Sanctuary, it's Angel's Border, Ryan, at 10, below The Ring. So they're my 10 and 11.
It's definitely going to be above Frankenstein.
It's just a disappointment. Do better, Junji.
I'm honestly having a hard time, especially because my taste has changed over the years. I do like hyperviolence, but I think I like stuff like Mermaid Saga a lot more. I think I am gonna rank them back to back, right above The Stand, and the main line is going to be my new number 7, and number 8 will be Angel's Border.
So that's below Mermaid Saga and above The Stand.
Yeah, and these are because a lot of these things because I really liked a lot of the comics and manga we've read.
I don't think we've read a bad comic.
Yeah, I think that we hate on Frankenstein a little bit because it's super specific things.
It's still like worth taking the 45 minutes to read it.
I think. No, it's like it's a fine time.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So I also will say that like I didn't enjoy it as much as what I did whenever I read it when I was 17. Like, you know, age changes perspectives on things.
I think most people would have that experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's just some things just, you know, they don't age with you, I guess is
like Good Booger.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm afraid to rewatch it.
Yeah,
I hated it.
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh no! Don't tell me that. That's my childhood.
No, it is.
I hated it. It was so bad.
Yeah,
it was like, I can't believe I like this.
Yeah. I can't believe I watched this on repeat. My poor parents.
The VHS tape was orange.
So, Battle Royale goes at number 3, right below Mermaid Saga, and Angel's Border, I think it goes above Gyo and below Enigma of Amigara Fall. So it's number 5 now.
Fair.
Alrighty. And again, we have a link to our rankings in the description. It's a publicly shared Google Drive, so you can just click on that and then click on comics and manga and check out where we rank all this stuff. You have 10, we have 14.
Wait. Hold on. Go back up.
Oh yeah, I didn't show you your whole list.
Yeah, you know, it's not my list, it's your list I'm looking at.
Oh.
Or his list. I have read this, and I haven't read the other thing. Oh wait, yeah, I have. The manga version, y'all read that?
Yeah, we did an episode.
Okay, I've read...
wait, we combined it with the first Japanese movie.
I have read both of those, Moi and The Ring.
All right, where do you put Moi? Pressure. Under pressure.
Yeah, look at our list. No peer pressure.
It's fine. You can put it wherever you want.
I mean...
Yeah, but I like to bully him a little bit.
See, I don't like it as much as a lot of his other stuff.
Boo! Get out!
I don't.
I've read it 3 times.
To me,
what's this other thing that you keep telling me to read?
Ode to Kirihito is my other favorite.
Ode to Kirihito is good. I really like Blackjack. Like
Blackjack is really good.
I love Blackjack.
I also like Blackjack.
It's just...
those are very different things.
Yeah. I think Moi goes above Gyo.
I also really like Astro Boy. So.
I think it's number 6. Moi's number 6. What's the other one? The Ring. I don't feel confident enough to probably rate that one.
Well, you've read it, so I'll just stick it here.
Just put it on 12, I guess.
Yeah, and then if you ever reread it...
put it above Master of the Future.
You know what? Can we even fault him for that?
No, I mean, Master of the Future isn't bad. It's just...
I do remember liking the manga.
It follows Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah.
So... That's probably not fair.
It's like Toy Story 2 isn't bad. It's just it follows Toy Story,
and it's in between Toy Story 3. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like the reverse Empire Strikes Back for me.
I got in an argument with my sister-in-law over Thanksgiving because she thinks that Toy Story 3 is the worst one.
Yeah. She's entitled to being wrong.
Yeah.
That's me. I shouldn't say stuff like that about opinions.
Yeah. Okay, so the two that you have, The Stand, and Domo. Didn't I let you read? Didn't I give you Domo to read?
I don't believe so.
The Katsuhiro Otomo one?
No, I don't think I have read that one.
I swear I gave this to you to read. No, just take it. Read it.
I was going to say...
It'll take all of an hour.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% have not read these.
Fantastique.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the Stand comics, you can have those too.
We'll just load them up with comics tonight.
I mean, that sounds great. I love comics.
Okay.
Yeah!
Man, I should have brought some more hyper-violent shit to force on you.
Hyper-violent.
I mean, I have stuff that's more violent than Battle Royale
I mean,
in my house.
hyper-violence is not exactly the reason I read comics, but I mean, I guess.
It's the best adaptation.
Oh, look at these. Thick boys.
Hi, Princess Leia. Homework.
You are a resident of the island where the program takes place, and the government of the Greater Republic of East Asia has given you 1 hour to pack a bag, lock up, and head to the boat for the mainland. How do you Kevin McAllister your house to protect it against the incoming students?
Okay. So I would prepare for this in advance. Okay. Because, obviously if my thing's going to be a part of the program and I live on an island, I'm just
You have 1 hour. You didn't know about it until...
No, I mean, I would assume that it's going to happen at me at some point and I'll be asked to leave.
Yeah, he's the third man of our group.
I'm in...
That kind of messes with the premise of the question, but if you're the Shinji, then I guess I can't argue.
So you give an hour. All right, so you have tatami mats, right, in Japan? So you have the floorboards and stuff you can just flip over? Mm-hmm. Okay, put nails on the underside of all those and then just flip them up and do it to your entire first floor. They can't use the first floor. So they just walk in and immediately just stomp onto fucking nails.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I figure out which entrance on the ground level it was most likely for somebody. Actually, I'd probably just go to each of them, like the window where they would go in, and just take a shit on the floor where they would put their foot down. If you break a window and climb into it and just step in a pile of shit, you're not going in that house. You're gonna leave. I ain't going into a house where they shit on the floor.
Who the fuck owns this house?
All right. So
Kiriyama steps in it. He's just chasing you. The only reason he's just chasing you around with shit on his boots.
He slips and falls, breaks his neck. Some Batman.
Karate Boy steals his Batman cloak.
So the government tells me I have 1 hour to pack my stuff. So I take out the trigger that my uncle gave me years ago. And I build pipe bombs throughout my house. And I lay tripwires so that the first kid that walks through my door gets blown the fuck to hell.
To blow up your house too?
Yes.
Go big or go.
I guess you're probably
go big or don't go home.
Yeah, I'm just gonna assume the government's really not gonna let me come back. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, you know what? No one gets it.
I had insurance on it in the first place.
I mean, yeah, they'll probably reuse that island, because Shogo says that when he did it, it was in a sectioned off ghetto that already looked like a war zone, so they had probably used it before. So yeah, that makes sense. All right, cool. So for further reading, I just wrote down the 3 manga I knew of that also had stupid, sexy people and were super violent. Tenjo Tenge, Real Bat High School, and Nikki Tosen.
Also, all of which have not aged well.
Future Diary, Higurashi. God, I should know more death games off of the top of my head.
I think
if you want the really, really, really bad version of it, so bad it's funny version of this, King's Game.
I think this is the only death game thing I've ever watched or read. I cannot think of another one, unless you count G Gundam.
I think the only other death game thing Jesus Christ.
You can just call me Ryan.
Call him the Joker.
Okay, I think that was the last one.
I prefer the red mask. Is that what it was?
Yeah. The only death game I'd probably recommend to you is I think that you would like elements of Squid Games.
Fair.
But that's the only other one I would try, because I know your taste a lot better these days. So I wouldn't recommend very many of these.
And I would just say go ahead and watch any of the main Universal Century Mobile Suit Gundams, because they don't live either.
You know what? Yeah.
Except for the OG.
I don't know, you talking like Amuro and Char? Or
Yeah.
They don't make it past Char's counterattack.
I'm just talking about the original
Oh,
series.
you're talking, okay, you're saying series-wise.
Yeah, I mean, Lala dies.
Yeah, the OG.
And Ryu
we're
dies.
okay, yeah, but Lala
and
dying
Lieutenant Matilda.
Lala dying is just a stripped upgrade over
No,
everything.
I prefer Lala dying.
Yeah.
But then the only other two characters... Oh, no, so there's Ryu, Lieutenant
Ryu,
Matilda,
yeah.
and the blonde guy.
Oh, yeah, who's in there for like 5 episodes, and for
Yeah.
some reason we're supposed to give a fuck about?
I can't remember his name.
I don't either, but yes, I generally agree.
But then past that, like...
Yeah, no.
Bernie!
Oh,
Bernie!
He's hamburger, sir.
Yeah, him too.
So after we went to...
I'm a Nader guy. Shake things up.
After we went to the fucking Magic Fest thing, I kind of made a silent bet with myself. I was just like, you know what? I'm finally going to watch through all of the Universal Century stuff that I can. And I literally wrapped up the original Mobile Suit Gundam.
We should just stream Legacy stuff.
And then, I'm on... And I just like 2 days ago finished up Double O.
Today we're doing Patron.
And I'm just like, Bernie, no. You know it's coming, it still hurts.
Hate it. And love it.
Oh, same.
The camphor. But okay. I had camphor on my desk
He
at
didn't
work
have
for
to.
years.
He didn't have to.
And she didn't even know.
Oh, she didn't. Whole thing's just fucking kicks you in the nuts.
Worn a pocket my ass. All right. Upcoming on the Horror of Babylon, next Sunday, we are wrapping up Battle Royale coverage with Battle Royale 2 Requiem, with the super ridiculous poster of Shuya dressed up with the AK-47.
This is the Battle Royale that I don't like. So
Yeah,
I think most even hardcore fans of Battle Royale don't like this movie.
Well,
At least that's the general consensus I've come across.
They didn't make a third one.
Yeah.
Granted, the writer-director also died. But
They should just make an Angels Border movie.
I would watch it.
Yeah, me too.
And then our next book episode actually releases on Christmas Eve. Sunday, December 24th. Let the right one in by... I don't even want to... I'm going to look up how to say his name on YouTube.
They've said it. They said it at least twice in like reviews and stuff I've watched for it, and I can't reproduce it.
I'm approaching the halfway point, and so far I really like it.
It's not my favorite vampire book. But it's in like my top 3.
So far, it's really good, and that's with like 2 or 3 horribly gross, disgusting scenes.
Things that you do not like.
Yeah.
Things that I
like the library scene.
Excised from the movie.
Thank God. But the rest of it is just so compelling that I can't help but like it.
I cannot wait to talk about this book. I could talk about this book for 5 hours. You're gonna have to rein me in.
That's fine. And then our next 2 bonus episodes, we just wrapped up the Deadite-a-thon, and we are starting our next 4 Horsemen sponsored thing, which will be the Blade-a-thon, or as I like to call it, the Snipes-a-thon.
Can I come in wearing my blade sword?
Yeah.
Clip that.
Okay. On December 14th, we are releasing our episode on Blade. And just in time for your Christmas wrapping needs, on December 21st, we are releasing an episode on Blade 2, which is our patron Ron's traditional holiday wrapping movie. Every year, he wraps his presents to Blade 2.
Blade 2.
Yep.
It's great. It's the third best Christmas movie.
Is there...
Which is why we're doing these and why we're doing it like
Is Blade 2 based around Christmas?
No.
I didn't think so. I don't remember Christmas happening.
It's just a joke for Ron.
And And speaking of patrons, thank you to Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons,
and Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben, the Fourth Patron of Hope, and Mia the Fifth, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain, yeah.
Oh, and thank you to the sponsors of the Deadidathon and the Bladeathon, or I like to call it the Snipesathon, for Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you can shop online at shop.forhorsemancomics.com, and if you make it into the store, say hello to Ronald III, Grampus of Christmas.
Who runs violent games in the background.
He does. He does, actually. We have hedgehog fights. People raise hedgehogs for fights. When I was in on it, I spray painted mine blue, and it died of the fumes.
I spray painted mine black.
Shut up. Did you see the Sonic?
Chris Pratt.
Sonic?
He's voiced by Chris Pratt.
Shadows?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I'm not gonna.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I
want him to voice everything.
I was ready to hate him as Mario, and then I was like, actually, he kind of did a good job.
Yeah.
So
I've always been more of a Knuckles guy.
Always been more of a Luigi guy.
He's in Sonic 2.
Oh, I like. Tails is my favorite Sonic character.
I'm very vanilla. I like Sonic.
See, I mean, Sonic is cool. Yeah. All right. Well, we have 2 more things to record. So thank you to our patrons. Stay tuned for our socials. Thank you for rereading Battle Royale and recording with me tonight, Daniel and Hef.
Always a pleasure, and I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it.
Well, I did until I didn't.
Until I didn't.
High highs, low lows.
I had a good time. Yeah. Minus the grinding of the reading.
It absolutely was a grind.
Agreed.
When it comes to episode releases, I think we should start looking at how long is this versus.
Yeah.
Like,
And we also did it. We did it right after a novel.
I literally, after I got done reading this, I literally looked up how long the Gunslinger was. I was like, oh, it's only 7 hours.
So short. Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus.
It's really short. Yeah.
I almost cried. I was so happy.
And it's a fast one. It's really fast.
So.
Okay.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.
Stay scary.
Stay scary.